Hello crafters, I'm Jan B and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how I made this gift card holder. I'm going to make 3 changes for today's gift card holder. First of all, I'm going to change the designer series paper. I'm also going to change the ribbon, and I'm going to change the size very slightly. The size we'll be making today is the right size to take an Amazon gift card. When I give a gift card, you know, nowadays they're like a double and you have to tear half of it off. I don't like giving gift cards like that. I'd much rather give the whole one, which is why I've done this. I feel that where you've torn it off, it looks well, torn, it looks damaged, so I prefer to keep it whole. But with this one, it was just a tad too short for an Amazon gift voucher, and I imagine these are very popular amongst you, and this would be more helpful than that size, because at least the gift voucher in there will still go into this one, but I know Amazon's very popular. So, card pieces you're going to need. A piece of designer series paper, which comes from, I think it's Be Merry, this one. Let me just check that. Yes, it's called Be Merry, and it measures 8 inches by 6 3/8 inches, which is 20.3 by 16.2 centimetres. Another piece of designer series paper and a piece of Whisper White, and they should both measure 3.5 inches by 2 inches, which is 8.9 by 5 centimetres. And when you cut those, you need to make sure that they do actually fit perfectly, because we will be adhering the two together so that we can use the back as the gift card. You'll also need another piece of Whisper White, which measures 1 3/4 inches by 2 3/4 inches, which is 4.5 by 7 centimetres. And then you need a piece of gold foil, which measures 1 3/4 inches by 2.5 inches, which is 4.5 by 6.3. And then for the reindeer, you need a piece of crumb cake, and that should measure 2.5 inches by 4.5 inches, which is 6.5 by 11.5 centimetres. And then you need a couple of strips of Whisper White. Now these are my offcuts. When I'm cutting my paper down to size, especially with the Whisper White, I keep all of my offcuts because they come in handy for so many different things. And for this strip here, you can get 3 out of here, so you need 1 1/3, and this is the full length, about 11.5 inches from one of our standard A4 sheets. So that's what you need. I think on the 11-inch sheets, I think you'll only be able to get 2 out of it. Maybe somebody can let me know on that one. So to get started, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these 2 adhered together so that Tombow's got time to dry. You could use fast fuse if you wanted, or tear and tape. And I'm also going to make the actual bag, and then we'll get on and do the stamping, and then the die cutting, and then put everything together. Right, so first of all we'll adhere those 2 together, and the reason I like to do these first is because as I use Tombow, I'm giving it a bit of time to dry before I shape this with punching the top with my Scalloped Tag Punch, and also using my corner rounder on the bottom 2 corners. I just like to think that it's a little bit drier. As I say, it's not bad if you're using fast fuse, you don't have to worry about it. There we go. Okay, so that's perfect. I'll leave that aside. Now we need the scoreboard. Just make sure I keep this in the screen. Right, and my score tool. There we go. Right, now if you've got a directional pattern on here, you really need to watch which way it goes, and it doesn't matter whether it's on this side or the inside, you still need to watch it. Okay, so when you're doing the scoring on the horizontal side, it doesn't matter which way up you have it. So on this, you're going to score at 2 1/8 inches and 5 7/8 inches, which is 5.4 centimetres and 14.9 centimetres. So, and it's also better for you to use the larger end of your scoring tool, because you're working on designer series paper. If you press too hard, it will go straight through it, it'll make holes. So you only need to press it as hard as is necessary for you to actually see the line there. So that's 2 1/8, and that's 5 7/8. Now you need to turn 90 degrees, but if you have a directional pattern, you've got to make sure the top is up here. We're going to score at 1/2 inch here, and that 1/2 inch is going to be the top of your bag. So make sure that your pattern is that way up, okay? If you've got writing or music or something like that. So make sure your writing is on the top of your bag, your pattern is up here. So you're going to score at 1/2 inch and 6 inches, which is 1.2 and 15.2 centimetres. Okay, so that's 1/2 inch and 6 inches. If you forget where you are, just remember that the top of the bag has the 1/2 inch score, and the one down here, that's just 3/8 of an inch. Right, that's all we need to do with that. I'll put that out of the way. I don't feel very comfortable. Let me bring my seat forward a bit. Right, what we're going to do, you will see on here that there are in each corner one slim rectangle, or there is in each corner one slim rectangle, and we're going to cut those off. Okay. Now, depending on which pattern you've chosen for this will decide how easy or how hard this is. I'm pleased to say that on this design it's amazingly easy. Now I'm cutting just on the top edge of the score lines, so most of the score is being cut away. Now I'm going to do this side. There we go. So that's those four. And I'm just going to very, very slightly miter the edges of the 4 ends of the tabs. Okay, so it's those two. They're dropping white side down so you can't see it. I'll show you in a minute if one doesn't go down on the green side. Right, turn the paper over, see if that will work. Oh, that's it. So there you go, that's how much I cut off for the miters. And if I laid this on here, you can see. In fact, that one doesn't really look as if it's been done, but that's okay. So now I'm going to fold on the score lines, and I am going to very gently, could have sworn I brought my score tool over, my scoring, my bone folder rather. Oh well, there's another one here, let's use that. Okay, so when you're using your bone folder to burnish this, don't go too hard because it is designer series paper, and although ours is really nice and thick, it's excellent quality, it is still paper. Okay. Oh, I did bring my bone folder over. It's just sitting in the tub there at a funny angle, which is why I can't see it. Right, now remember to have the 3/8 of an inch score at the bottom here and the 1/2 inch up there. And what we're going to do is we're going to put tear and tape down that side. That's on the outside, and on the inside on here. You could use fast fuse if you like, or snail should work on this as well because it's paper. Paper to paper should be fine. So there's that one, and that's my narrow one, so it's going to go on here as well. There we go. Now I'm going to get my paper piercer and take this one off first. And then with that one folded over, just fold that one on top of it. Now I haven't folded that very straight across there, so I'm going to just trim that bit off. That's better. Yep, I can live with that. Right, now I'm going to take the covering off of this tear and tape and fold that up. I don't go to any trouble to try and make sure that's really flat because there's a thickness to the gift card. So there we go, it fits in beautifully. So you need a little bit of give there. In fact, I think I'll leave that in there while I'm working. Right, okay. So those two pieces are done. Now we're going to do the stamping. And we've got stamping to do on the back of this one as well. It looks like, oh, that's right, it's gone. Right, first of all we'll do this one. I'm doing the little reindeer from the seasonal Chums. I'm doing this one. And I'm going to use basic black archival ink. And I find it best just to give this ink pad a little bit of a twist to make sure that everything gets stamped really nicely. Inked rather, very nicely rather, not stamped. I'm going to bring this down towards me a bit and just pop that right in the centre. There we go, that's good. Happy with that. So move that one out of the way. That's heat embossing, so let me do the thank you. Now what I do with this is also from Seasonal Chums, but as you can see they're really very close together, and on mine I make them quite a distance because I couldn't write in there. So what I do is, rather than messing about with taping it, inking it, removing the tape, because I invariably forget to remove the tape, this is what I do with it. I just get a scrap of paper, and then let's bring this down, I can come quite a way, and then I just stamp half and half. So half goes on my scrap paper, and then half goes at the top there. Then I bring it down like this, do that again, decide approximately half and half, and there we go. Super. I should have said, if you've got a directional pattern on this, make sure you've got it up the right way when you're doing your stamping. Right, the next thing is to do the stamping on the heat embossing, and that's this piece here. And the stamp set I'm using is called Add a Little Glitz, and I'm using A Gift for You. So first of all I'm going to use my embossing buddy. And my stamp and Versamark. Can never quite work out which way is the right way up for this. Not that it really matters at this stage. So just a nice firm press. Yes, that looks good. Put that over there. Now I'm using gold embossing powder for this. And I have what I call my special tweezers. These are the ones I think work back to front. You squeeze them to open them, let them go to grab what you're holding, what you want to hold. Okay, that's really nice because it's so clean and easy doing it like this. But I have said before that those boxes do take up quite a lot of room. Right, I'm going to use my heat tool now. It won't take long, and I'm just going to allow it to run for a few seconds just to heat up first. So bear with me. There we go. When you're doing heat embossing, as soon as it goes shiny, that's it, it's done. Don't hang around with it. Right, I'm trying to keep myself organised, and I've got a little tub on my desk here where I am trying to keep all of my tools so that I don't keep saying, what have I done with this, what have I done with that. We'll see how well it works. Right, now I need to do some die cutting. It's that and that. Oh, let's do the colouring on here first. There's not much that I do. I use Crumb cake, and I do his hooves, back and front. I do the body spots and his tail. I don't tend to do all of it. And inside his ear, I just give that a little bit of a shadow. And his antlers. Oh, let's do the other one, shall we, before we turn it around? There we go, and then the back as well. When I put these onto the tag, I don't know whether you noticed, but I've got the two there. The one that's facing backwards is behind the one at the front. And we do the body spots again. Tail. Hooves. As you can see, I don't spend too much time worrying about doing this. And then for the ribbon around his neck, I'm using Garden Green because that's the colour of the Designer Series paper that I've used. But I am going to do his nose in red. I always assume that the reindeer is Rudolph. With the bell, I'm going to be using my Wink of Stella Gold glitter pen. If you don't have that, what I suggest you do is, if you colour the bell in something like crushed curry, which is quite a darkish yellow, and then go over it with your Wink of Stella, it's a good alternative. But I bought my gold pen when Stampin' Up was selling them, and it's still got plenty in there, so rather than wasting it. So those can go in there. Then I'll have my red one. Oops, got some tape round there, which means it's running out. Right, very carefully do his nose. I did this once before and I went over the lines and it looked for all the world that he had a nosebleed. Right, I think that's done everything, haven't I? So we'll bring the big shot over. Now the dies that I'm using, first of all for the reindeer, that's from the seasonal tags, Framelits. So I'm going to be using that one. And for the gold foil, I'm using the Scalloped No.3 layering ovals Framelits. I always count from the smallest one, so that's 1, 2, 3. And for the sentiment, I'm using No.2 of the stitched shaped Framelits, the ovals from there. Okay, so let's do the gold one first, because that can be done anywhere as long as the die doesn't move. And then for the reindeer, I think it's that way, isn't it? Yes. Yep, I think that looks good. And then the sentiment, you just need that to be sort of straight. If it wasn't going in an oval, you wouldn't need to actually, that's jumping, isn't it? Let's turn it sideways and do it. Yes, the writing seems to be going upwards. So whichever way you think looks right is right. Right, put the other layer on top. Make sure that nothing moves. The gold one moved, but it didn't move off. Right, there we go. So, our scalloped oval, that's good, and our sentiment. If you ever find that your stitched shape Framelits get a little bit difficult like that, next time you use it, use waxed paper on top, and it seems to loosen this up for several goes afterwards. And then the reindeer, Rudolph, there we go, that's him. So that's the big shot finished with. So first of all, we need to separate these two, and because I'm using both of them, I just cut following the line around. Obviously no right or wrong with this. There we go. And then we need to cut the little hole off of the tag, because we're not going to use it like that. Went a bit close there. But that's fine. The only thing I don't like is if I do any sharp lines like a up and a down. As long as they're curved, that's fine. Right, now we're going to do this one, and what we need to do is with our Scalloped Tag Punch, again, if you've got, oh yeah, make sure you've got it up the right way because you've now stamped on it. I didn't do that on first of all, I did it at the end last time, and it was a bit of a difficult job to do because I'd already put the bits on it. Okay, so just make sure that your card does come right up to the edge. I'll Here we go. Don't you just love this punch? And then for the ends you need a corner punch. I'm still using our retired Project Life, but you can use the envelope punch board. That's got a corner rounder on it. See, just finishes it off nicely, doesn't it? Didn't do that one too well. That's better. Right, now I'm going to put my reindeer on there. Right, and this one goes up here, and then this, I'm going to glue that down with Tombow, and then I'm going to put this one on with dimensionals, which I didn't bring over, so let's get those. That's it, these two will be fine. Okay, so let's do this first. And Tombow. You could use fast fuse for this if you like. As you know, Tombow is definitely my go-to glue. Tweezers. If you don't want to use both reindeer, obviously you don't have to. Right, let's see, what do we need here? Cool, they're all joined together. I have one there, one for his head, one there, and I think we'll use small ones, little minis. Don't you just love these little mini dimensionals? I don't think I'll do any more, that's going to be enough, I'm sure. Right, there we go. So that's a tag. Let's just brush those into the little rubbish bin there. Now we're going to put these two together. And then next we're going to do the little white trim that I've put top, bottom, back and front on my bag. Okay, I'm going to show you how I did that. Right, first of all, punching. I used the Decorative ribbon border punch, which is this one, and if you've never used one of these before, the way I do this is I line the edge of my cardstock up with what I consider to be the end of the pattern, and now that I've done several of these I know exactly how far it's got to go, so I just line it up so it's going halfway through that circle. Okay, and then make sure you've got that back. Let me use my paper piercer. Did I put it back where I hoped I would? No, well I suppose it's going to take me a little while to get used to doing this, isn't it? In fact I can't even see it now, unless it's hiding like the other one was. Well, not to worry. Make sure that your cardstock is right up against the back there, okay, on both sides. So once you're happy with that, then press down. So you get 3 designs. Now to do this bit here, put it back underneath, and this first one here needs to go back underneath as well. So this second one, you've got to line it up with the design there. Okay, so those silver bits have got to go into those holes. And then if you pull this very slightly towards you while you're holding that, so that in fact what you're doing is you're pushing the top edge on that bit that's under there against the edge. Okay, so that should be right. Okay, so that's good. Sometimes you get little hairy bits like that, but that's no worries. Now we're going to carry on along here. I'm only going to do 2 or 3 because I've already prepared all of mine. Okay, so again, you bring this out so that you know which is your end one, and then you put the end one back in, and then you know that that is the one you've got to line up. That's the second one, so line that up. And then when you're happy, make sure that you've pushed this against that edge. Okay, you'll see that the edge of that scallop there will not be touching the edge on here, and don't try and make it touch that edge, because if you do, you're going wonky. Okay, so I find this very difficult to do sitting down. Okay, so then what you need to do, imagine that you've done all the way along here. If you take your scissors, and in fact let me show you on this one, this is a complete strip. Okay, so imagine you finished up with your complete strip like this. If you've got a complete one at the end here, you need to count 7, and this is also assuming you're doing the same size bag as mine. Okay, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so cut through that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that should leave 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now A4 is 11.5 inches long, so this is why I don't think it will work in the States with your, yours is 11 by 8.5 I think, isn't it? So you would need to do another sheet. Right, so once you've done this, as you can see, I've done complete pieces here. I haven't done it so that it wraps around, and the reason I didn't do it like that was because I found that when it wrapped around it was uneven here, and rather than do that I worked out how to do this bit. Okay, so you've got all your bits that are 7. Now what's going to happen is you're going to cut that last one off. So what you want to do is from that scallop there, okay, you're going to cut up to that scallop there, but you don't want just a straight edge. So what you want to do is, as you come up this scallop, come out and round and then go back to that one. Okay, let me see if I can show you what I mean here. I'll do both ends. Okay, so I'm going into that scallop and I'm going to go outwards and turn very slightly and then aim up for that scallop. Okay, let's see if I can do that and keep my finger under it so that you can see. Right, okay, so into that scallop. Right, I'm watching the camera as well now so that I don't spoil it. Right, so now I'm going to take a curve outwards and I'm going to swing back in again, and I'm aiming up for that scallop. Okay, now you need 4 of those, and you will find that they will fit on here beautifully. Okay, so I'll save those for another project, but I got 3 here that I did earlier. So now we need to adhere these to our bag. Now all of them, except for the one that's going to be going on the actual flap, I'm just going to put glue all the way along the bottom and on the uppermost bits of each pattern. I'm not going to try and do it all the way along. Anywhere where I can see like fairly thickish bits, which is above that hole. In fact, it's not the top of the things, is it? So if I do above the holes, in between there, and then on the top bit. This is coming out thicker than I'd like it to, so I'm going to mop this onto a piece of scrap paper that I have by the side here. Okay, so before I put it on, and then bring this over. I just try and see to make sure that I get the same amount of gap either end. And just give it a press down, and there we go. And then we've got another 3 to do. So I'm going to do the 3 that I'm putting Tombow on all over first. Obviously you could use fast views for this, but I imagine it's probably a bit of a difficult thing to do. So above the circles and then up to the top. There we go, and I'll give that a little mop as well. And pop it on here, slightly off screen there. I mean, if any glue does come out, like it has done a bit there, it doesn't matter too much because it will dry clear, albeit shiny. Right, I think that's the wrong side. Sometimes it's very difficult to tell which is the right side and wrong side of a punched image with Stampin' Up punches. Quality is just absolutely brilliant with them. There we go. This is my last project before Christmas. Hope you've enjoyed watching what I've been doing. Do appreciate your support and I thank you for that. Right, now this one is going on the flap, so I'm going to do just at the bottom here. Also, we've got a new catalogue going live on 3rd of January. I've sent them all out to my customers. If you don't have a Stampin' Up demonstrator and you'd like to receive one of the catalogues, please email me at jambi.jambicards.com. I'll be more than happy to send you one. Stampin' Up rules, I'm afraid, I can only send them to you if you live in Netherlands, France, Austria, Germany and the UK, which I'm very, very sorry about. Right, now I'm just adhering that on the end of the flap so that I can't see any of the Designer Series paper coming through any of these little holes. Okay. You could do it higher if you wanted to, but I just think that looks pretty like that. Okay, so there's that bit. Now I'm going to put one of our foil snowflakes on the centre here, and again I'm going to do glue on the ends of all the arms here. If you're doing this project in the middle of the year, you can always use our normal little white doilies for this, because gift cards rather, aren't only for Christmas. I think we give them all other times of the year, especially birthdays. So you just change whatever decoration you've got on here. Right, there we go. I'll just do a couple of bits in the centre. Not that's terribly important because we've got the sentiment going on top. Now, just in case, I am going to just dab that Make sure, get rid of any excess. Right, now I'm going to work out where the centre is using my ruler at the bottom here. So what's that? I've got 2.5 inches, 2.5. Right, that's about it. So this darker line here, I've measured down the bottom here, which I don't think you can see, but that darker line is centre. So I'm making sure that the bit with the little diamond on it there and the bit with the diamond there are going from one end of the dark one through to the other end. So I know that's absolutely spot on. If you want to just pop it on there, not worry about what direction it is, of course you can. Now this I'm also going to adhere down with Tombow, because there's not too much holding the actual snowflake down, but this will add on a lot of security for it, shall we say. Now I'm just going to position this and judge that it's in the centre by looking at the patterns on the doily, snowflake. I've been so good this time. I've got all the, keep calling it snowflake on this video. Normally call it a doily, and I let myself down there. Right, okay, so there's that and that. My card is in there, so that's all right. I'm going to use one of our binder clips, and these come in packets of 10, like that. And the ribbon I'm using this time is this gold one here. And I'm taking about 8 inches with my ribbon scissors. Let's say 8 inches up there. And I'm just going to fold that through there. Level it up. And then making sure these stay straight. I'm going to fold it over the top. Don't know how much I've left there, probably about 2 inches down there. And now I'm going to take another piece and tie it in a bow across here. I didn't measure this one, but you'll have an idea how much you need to tie a bow like this. Okay, so I'm just moving it down here to make life a little bit easier for myself. Now I'm going to tie this in a bow in one go. If I don't do it, then I'll tidy it up off screen. Sometimes I find these bows go sideways. Right, come down that way. That's it. It behaves itself while I'm actually doing it, but then it just absolutely twists around. Right, there we go. Is that okay? See what I mean? Totally upside down. Well, maybe not totally. But I'm going to sort that out afterwards. I will tidy up the ends as well, and tidy up these ends. There we go. Okay, so I've got 2 points down there, and there we go. That's today's project. I hope you like it. I have to confess, this is the third take for this video. The first one that I did was this one. I used the snowman, and I had one thing after another that didn't go right, shall we say, and then the video finished up 1 hour and 1 hour 1 minute, which was ridiculous. I think, I don't know how long I've taken now, but I imagine it's probably about 40 minutes. So I thought, no, I'm going to redo that. So I redid it, and this is the one I redid. That's what the bow's meant to go like, by the way. And when I went into the office to download it, it was only 12 minutes long. My heart hit my boots, because that meant that the memory had become full and not recorded. So I've had to do it a third time. But as you see, it's a nice, quick, easy project. And I think you'll agree that this ribbon looks tidier than that one. But there we go. Many thanks for joining me today. I do want to take this opportunity of wishing you all a very, very blessed Christmas, because it is that you'll be had the opportunity to watch this on Christmas Eve, so tomorrow will be Christmas Day. And I would also like to thank you all very, very much for your support. I really do appreciate it. And if you have any questions to ask about this, please leave them in the box below, because I'm always happy to help. If you'd like to purchase any of the products that I featured here, except for the gold Wink of Stella, which we don't sell anymore, I'm afraid, there'll be a link to my 24/7 online shop in the box below. And don't forget, if you want to receive a catalogue, I'm more than happy to send you one. Just email me your details at jambi@jambicards.com. And if you'd like to be notified each time I upload a new video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And finally, until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.